Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to Southern Bells and Haunted Tales.
A fun podcast about supernatural,
Local haunts, legends,
personal experiences.
and all things spooky and things that go bump in the night.
That's right.
I am Jen,
I am Mel.
and we are your hosts for this crazy adventure.
You have to bear with us. It's the first time we've tried to record. um, it's the first time either of us has ever tried to do a podcast.
Yes, and we just now got everything set up to record, and the sun's starting to go down here at this gorgeous cabin, and so we're not going to record ourselves for this first one. We're stressed out and
We're
shadowy and frustrated.
we're just it's a learning experience for both of us.
Yes.
I know that we have a recording that we did a little over a month ago that we really wanted to be our first official podcast, because it is where everything kind of came together for the two of us.
Yes.
It's not really where it started because for both of us, our experiences started probably long before we ever actually met.
Right.
But we have been friends for a very long time, and to tell you how long would tell you how old I am.
We don't need to do that today.
No, not today. But we kind of just wanted to introduce ourselves and just get a feel for what we're doing because I feel like neither one of us really know what we're doing.
Nope.
But right now we are in a very small town in southeast Tennessee in Polk County at a cabin on the river. The sun is currently going down. We're looking over one of the mountains. It's really pretty out here. It's one of my
gorgeous.
favorite places to come. My husband's family owns this up here, and it's just one of my favorite places to come when I need solitude or to just take a breather from the chaos of everyday life and jobs and things of that nature.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's my first time visiting, and it's so peaceful and so.
It's
tranquil.
peaceful right now.
Well, yeah.
It's going to get a little creepy here in about 30 minutes when the sun goes down because there's no lights out here and it is very, very dark.
So, what a perfect setting.
That's right.
So, should we just tell a little backstory about each of us?
Yeah, let's do
Want
that.
to?
Yeah.
Go first.
Okay, so my name is Melinda. Most of my friends call me Mel. Some people in my family call me Minda. I only allow that if I really like you, usually. My mom doesn't even call me that, and it's not because I don't like my mom, because my mom is my best friend, but my dad's family calls me that. But most of my friends call me Mel. I have a 27-year-old son. I have a 32-year-old stepson. I had to think about that. If he was 32 or 33. I have a 32-year-old.
We're already aging ourselves.
Yeah. I have a 32-year-old stepson. I have a 5-year-old granddaughter, a 1.5-year-old grandson, and an almost 1-year-old granddaughter. I am a paramedic here in Tennessee. I'm also licensed in the state of Georgia and in Alabama. I work full-time on a 911 ambulance, and I work part-time in an ER. I am very ADD. Have not been medicated my whole life. I've only lived most of my life unmedicated. It was when I went to paramedic school that I actually got put on anything for the ADD, and still it doesn't always work. I'm very scattered at times. I'm goofy. I'm me.
And my name is Jennifer, and my friends call me Jen or Jenny. And I have been married to my husband for 25 years. We met right out of high school. Well, he was in college. I was in high school. We have a 16-year-old son and a 14-year-old daughter. And I am working in the public schools as an interventionist. And life is crazy and hectic. We have lots of animals, 2 cats and 2 dogs. Mel knows a lot about animals.
I have 5 dogs and 2 black cats.
So we have a zoo between us. We met in high school through a mutual friend
Yeah.
who I was dating at the time, which is funny to say now. But yeah, so we've known each other a long time.
A lot of years.
Yeah,
A lot of life has happened in those years.
a lot of life. I guess I'll talk about my background with paranormal experiences or whatever. Growing up, my mom used to tell me about the day she found out my sister's father, her first husband, had passed away. It was in 1969, and they lived, my mom, her first husband, and my sister lived in Marietta, Georgia at the time. And he was away on a business trip in West Virginia. And so while he was gone, my mom and sister had gone up to the Blue Ridge area. For those of you who aren't familiar with our region, I'll just say the Blue Ridge, Georgia area, to visit family while he was out of town. And she was on her way home. She was going to stop off to see my grandparents, and she was on the way home from visiting family. And as she was driving, she kept having flashes of a vision of her husband in a casket, and she couldn't get it out of her head. She said she just prayed the whole time she was driving that she could, make it down the road, the mountain, and not, because my sister was asleep in the back seat. She was 4 at the time, and but she just kept seeing these flashes of him in a casket. So she ended up not going to my grandparents' house. She just drove straight back to their house in Marietta. And when she got there, I believe it was the Georgia Highway Patrol, or anyway, some law enforcement were there at their neighbor's house, and they were trying to get a hold of my mom. And so when my mom got there, they told her that her husband had passed away in an accident with a train. He was in the back seat of the vehicle that his coworkers were driving, and they were in the front seat, and they tried to beat a train across the tracks.
Never a good idea.
And they made it as far as the back seat, and the train, he took the brunt. The back seat took the brunt of the force, and it killed him. They walked away from it, but back then, in a very rural area like in West Virginia where they were, or even around here, we didn't have those flashy lights and the bars that came down and all that stuff. So they just decided they were going to be cool and
It's a deer.
Oh, I love that.
Sorry, a deer just ran through.
Okay, there's our first cryptid of the night. No, it was a deer. We're good.
There's another one.
Oh, they're just running up the hill. Okay.
Sorry.
So, no, you're good. That was perfect. I feel like deer are what do you call, spirit animals?
Yeah.
If you believe that, because whenever we visit our loved ones' graves, we always see like a deer or something. Or butterflies.
Yeah, well, it's funny that you should mention butterflies. I mean, I know it's not the season for butterflies now. It's because it's late November. But there's still, because the weather has been wishy-washy, as it always is in this part of the country this time of year. When you started talking about your mom's first husband or your sister's biological father, there was a butterfly that flew through.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I got chill bumps. Okay. That's funny too, because my dad passed away in February, and it's brutally cold here in February usually.
Oh, yeah.
And we had actually had some snow, and when we were leaving the cemetery after his burial, there we go, there's another one. We saw butterflies at the cemetery in February. So that's always been our little sign. And my kids were little. My daughter wasn't even born yet when he passed away. She was born like 6 weeks later. And so that's what we always told them, is they saw a butterfly. That was Granddaddy saying hello.
Yep.
So But yeah, my mom had a vision of her first husband's death before it happened, and they're coming up back.
It's another one. I don't know where they're coming from.
That is so cool. Anyway, so that was my first experience with hearing about, I guess some people call it having the sight.
Yeah.
The old timers call that. I don't know. I've had some experiences of that myself over the years, which we can talk about on another episode. But that was my first real experience with that. And of course, my mom said, you know, being from up Copper Hill, Turtletown, you have to really be a local if you know what Turtletown is.
That's right.
That they had a place called Hell's Holler, and which is supposedly no good comes of Hell's Holler. So,
the name is befitting.
Yeah. So we are, I mean, we're in the, just smack dab in the middle of all kinds of local legends and ghost stories and cool history facts, which we hope to take you around sometime to see. But we wanted our first episode to be where we kind of realized our mutual love for all things creepy.
Yep.
So why don't you tell us about your first experience, Mel?
So my first experience with anything supernatural, paranormal, was probably when I was, gosh, I don't know, I was a kid. So my parents are divorced. They have been. I have no recollection of my parents ever being together. I'm very close to both my mom and my dad and my stepdad, and I was close to my stepmom before she died. But my stepmom is the one that really, kind of, my stepmom and my dad's mom are the ones that really taught me about anything that is considered supernatural, because I grew up in a very strict Judeo-Christian home, where anything that was not spiritual, I guess, in a Christian sense, was of the devil. That's just what my mom believed, my grandmother believed, my grandparents on my mom's side, that's just how they believed. And that's all fine and dandy, but I have come to realize as an adult that if you believe in one, then you have to believe in the other. And just because it's something that's supernatural doesn't necessarily make it evil.
Right.
But my grandmother and my stepmom were Native American, and so in that side of my family, I grew up going to Native American powwows and Indian festivals, or whatever you want to call them, because politically correct, I think they're called Indian festivals now, but we still refer to them as powwows. I think that was my first experience with anything that was relatively supernatural, was at a Native American festival when I was a kid. And after that, it was, my dad lived in a house that was over 100 years old at that time, and things that go bump in the night, and I used to hear things. I used to hear, doors that I knew had been locked with a skeleton key that would be open, and everybody else would be in bed, and I knew that nobody had opened those doors. And I asked my stepmom about it one night. I was probably 8 or 9, and I asked my stepmom why the door from the living room onto the back porch, why does it always come open at night? And she said, because it's the spirits wanting to pass through. Which kind of freaked me out, and that is when she really sat down with me and said, there's nothing to be afraid of. You're going to hear things. The spirit of those that passed on before us, they come visit, they say hi. If you're afraid, all you have to do is tell them that you're afraid, and they usually will leave you alone. Now, there was a room in that house that scared the living crap out of me, and I only went in it one time that I can remember in my entire life, because I was so afraid of that room. But it also caused me to have night terrors. After I went into that room, my first experience with a night terror was, I was about 9 years old, and my stepmom had always said that she felt like there was something wrong with that room, and my grandmother came in and she said, no children ever need to go in that room because there's something evil in there. that was really my first experience with anything that was really supernatural. And then, and not all of my experiences have been bad. I've had wonderful experiences since my grandparents passed away. I've seen my grandfather in dreams, and I've seen my grandmother, both of them. I've seen both of my grandfathers, and they're not always negative. Here in Cleveland, not Cleveland, but here in, in Cleveland, where I lived. It's not where I live in Tennessee anymore, but I've had a few experiences that off camera, once we finish this, I'll sit down and I'll talk to Jennifer about a few of these things, a few of the places that I would like to go one day. They're not far from here. There's, some experiences that I've had that I would like to go to and just say, this is where this happened, or this is where that happened, or whatever. But in this particular area where we are right now, when the sun goes down, that's usually when all the little haints come out. So, I don't necessarily have bad experiences with.
Well, I think and that's something I learned as an adult, because looking back now, I see a lot of things that I was probably attuned to as a child that I just wouldn't face because I was scared. But like you hear, if you give them attention, they'll just.
You give an inch, they take a mile.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's something my mother used to say to me all the time. Is you give an inch, they take a mile. Yeah. And I agree that sometimes there's some things that you want them to take that extra road. Yes. and run with it, because that's what we're wanting. But then there's other times that you're like, I would really like for you to stop now.
We're good now. Yeah, and we've experienced that too.
Yes. and like you say, it's not all negative. There's things that happened to me when I was younger, when I was a child, or when I was a teenager living overseas, that at that particular time was absolutely terrifying. But looking back on it as an adult, it's not necessarily scary. It wasn't that there was anything that was meant to scare me. It was just something trying to get my attention.
Right.
And the only way that they know how, or that they are able to. Yeah. So,
I think that might be a good topic for another discussion too, is how we came to the place of reconciling our faith with what a lot of people who share our faith consider
demonic. Yeah. Demonic. Like, I was always taught that
the dead are dead.
Once you're dead, you either go to heaven or hell, and there is no in between. Right. And as an adult, while I still believe that there is a heaven or a hell, I also do believe that there is an in-between. But I'm also not. I was raised in a very strict Pentecostal Church of God home, and as an adult, I converted to Catholicism. I'm probably the worst Catholic on the planet, because I go to church I think I go to mass like 3 times a year, but I also work a really weird schedule.
Yes, you do.
Like I work 24 hours on an ambulance, then I have 72 hours off, and in those 72 hours I also pick up a 12-hour overnight shift in the ER. So I usually I sleep when I can, but I try not to miss out on life.
Yes.
And I try to spend time with my son and my daughter-in-law and my grandkids, because my grandchildren are my reward for not murdering my child as a teenager.
And I'm in the thick of that right now, so I get you.
I promise. It gets better, I promise.
Yeah, I think that's because it wasn't like that, and I don't know where I know your dad's family's from Georgia, right?
Yeah, my mom and my dad are both from Georgia.
Okay.
Atlanta. I'm originally from Atlanta. Okay. I was born in downtown Atlanta.
Oh, okay. So I don't know what your ancestors are like. I know the Native American side, and I have Native American in my ancestry too, but my family came from up here in these mountains and hollers, and my dad was from Old Fort, which is like, if you blink, you miss it when you're going down the road. And my mom was up in the mountains from Copper Hill, the Blue Ridge area, and all of their ancestors were from up there. So, but there was a point, and I don't know when that shifted, because faith and the supernatural weren't always opposed to each other. You know,
Right.
Our ancestors, my ancestors, believed in, you know, things. You know, that's why they say don't leave your blinds open at night.
Yeah.
Don't leave your windows open at night. Don't go. You don't want to go over
You don't take
that
the-
area.
So, like, my mom and dad are my mom and dad are from very opposite sides of the tracks.
Mm.
My mom's family is, I mean, we've got our rednecks in my mom's family too, but my mom's family is very refined. Even though they're from Atlanta, my grandparents were very refined. They were not, you know, that what people call that hillbilly backwoods,
Right.
blah blah blah. My father's family, on the other hand, is very much of that. Like some of my dad's family is from Florida, the Florida Georgia line area,
Mm-hmm.
Tifton and Valdosta, and then and
yeah.
they settled in in Atlanta in the Lakewood area. But my grandparents grew up in those backwoods,
Mm.
and my grandmother is she was Choctaw and Seminole.
Oh.
And so I grew up in my dad's family being taught about a little bit about the Native American culture. Not as much as I wish that I had been taught, because my dad always respected my mom's wishes, I guess, because my mom had custody of me. But
Wow.
but I do know, I know a lot of the Native culture. And in the 80s, and here's where I'm going to tell my age. In the 80s, there was such thing. If you've ever watched the show Stranger Things,
Yeah.
the most recent season went on and on about the satanic panic and
Oh, yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons and all. And that is a very real thing. If you're not, if you're not my age, if you're one of the young generations,
Well, that really happened.
yeah, you think, oh, this is all for TV, but it really wasn't.
Right.
There really was a complete panic
Mm-hmm.
that was called the Satanic Panic, and that is where I think where religion and the supernatural
Right.
slammed into each other, and suddenly the supernatural became something that was totally demonic.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that wasn't of God, it wasn't the Holy Spirit, or it wasn't spiritual or whatever in a good way, or what people perceived as a good way, then suddenly it was bad. It was
Right.
evil, it was demonic, it was, you had to be prayed over, and Lord knows, in the 80s, there were people casting out demons left and right of people that probably didn't have demons. They,
Oh, right.
you
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I do believe in those sort of things. I do believe in possessions. I do believe in demon possessions. I
Yeah.
also believe that sometimes mental illnesses are mistaken
Mhm.
for things like that. And in the 80s, that's what it was. And I think that a lot of that is where the fear of the supernatural came
That's
from.
a good point. Yeah. I think that probably is that could have been the breaking point between the two, because up until then you had, you know,
Hey,
there
in the
was
60s and 70s,
they were very
that was all drug
spiritual
related. Oh yeah, they were spiritual. But there was
via LSD.
Yeah. Maybe that's where the fear came from, and it just
Like the
bled
paranoia
over.
stuff.
But it's nice now because you have so many people that are both young and older generations that are admitting that there's more to what's going on, and there's
Mhm.
more than what we really know. There's
Yeah.
more out there than what we really know.
I think it's where people our age are overcoming that fear that was put into us
Yes.
as kids, because my parents were the same way. You know, I mentioned something about, some of my friends are playing something called Dungeons and Dragons, and it was like, no.
Oh, my mom.
You know.
The only time I can ever remember mentioning Dungeons and Dragons, I think I was, I might have been 13,
Mhm.
and we were stationed overseas. My mom had remarried my stepdad. You know, we were overseas, and I mentioned something just in passing about Dungeons and Dragons, and I was told, don't ever let me find out that you ever came near that or you touched that. That game is satanic. It is of the devil. You do not go near that. It's like a Ouija board. Now, I will say, a Ouija board, even at my age,
Oh yeah,
I will not touch a Ouija board.
That's what I was starting to say. Way too far to know.
Yeah, I have played with one a couple of times, and I will not have one in my home. I will not have one anywhere around me. I will not be around them because I truly do believe that those are. You don't know what you're conjuring.
Yes.
When you get into that. Now, Dungeons and Dragons, I believe, is just simply a role-playing game. I don't believe that there's anything.
Can you make it evil? Probably.
Yeah, but I can make anything evil.
Exactly. And the Halloween. I don't know how your church was about Halloween. We had Halloween, like fall festivals at my church growing up, but my mom's best friend, their church went completely Halloween is evil.
Yes.
You throw away all your Halloween decorations, blah, 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 blah.
We weren't allowed to have Halloween decorations, but my mother never had it to the point that I wasn't allowed to enjoy Halloween. Yeah. My mother always let me go trick-or-treating. She took me trick-or-treating in the neighborhood, and but yeah, I mean, our church, the church that we went to when I was growing up, we they had a little, it wasn't called Halloween, it was a fall festival or something ridiculous. But
and there's ones that'll just like, you can dress up, but you can only dress up as Bible characters or blah, blah, blah.
And my argument with that is, if I'm dressing up, I'm dressing up. It doesn't matter what I'm dressing up as.
Right.
I'm still dressing up. I mean,
yeah.
It's just funny how that happens. And
even though my mom was very against like the Dungeons and Dragons and all that stuff, she drew the line at things like Halloween because she's like, it's the intent of your heart.
Yes.
And why you're dressing up, why you're doing this, blah blah blah. You know, anybody can make anything evil, like you said.
And that's how my mom always felt was, it's not necessarily what you're dressing up, the fact that you're dressing up and you're going door to door knocking on, getting candy. It's your intent. It's what's in your heart. Is there evil in your heart? Well, no, you're a kid having fun.
People can take a thread and unravel it until there's nothing left. Even with like Christmas, people will pick apart Christmas in some religions or some, ideology and say, well, a Christmas tree is actually a pagan symbol, and if you're putting a Christmas tree up and you're Christian, then you're just inviting pagans.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah.
Well, the reality is, on that note, if you want to go down that road, the reality is, historically, it's been proven that Jesus was not born on December 25th.
Exactly.
He was actually more likely born in the spring.
Right.
And, Easter, the crucifixion, may not have necessarily happened on a Friday, and he rose on Sunday, which incidentally, if it's 3 days, that's not 3 days, that's 2. So he had to have been crucified on Thursday to have rose on Sunday. But neither here nor there, that's a totally different topic. I don't do religion because I'm not smart like that. I don't get into religious debates, just like I don't get into political debates, because that's well above my pay grade.
Anybody can pick apart something if they want to.
Right.
But, it's what your intentions are in celebrating or whatever. I believe that. I think people can be really overkill on things.
But back to where how we got started. I don't know how we
took
got
a rabbit, followed a rabbit somewhere.
Yes, we did. We followed those deer that were running.
We're over there. Okay.
So just circle back. So throughout this podcast, our hope is to talk about our own personal experiences, because Lord knows I have a lot, and I know Jen has a lot. So talk about our own personal experiences, and I'm really hoping that we can find a time where we're both off work, where we can take little road trips, here and there, to show some of the places that we've both had experiences, where she's been, that she's had her own experiences, where I've been, that I've had my experiences. And then there's a couple of places that I know we both want to go to see if we can have experiences together.
Yes. Yes.
I really, really want to go to Brushy Mountain Penitentiary.
You've been there.
I've been there. I've been there with my mom a couple of times.
I really want to go there.
That may be one that the husbands go on, because my husband has never gotten to go, and he wants to go. And then there's a couple of other places. There's
Bell Witch Cave.
Yes.
Which I was talking to my husband about that the other day, and he was like, well, we can all go as a trip, and then you and Mel can just go do your thing.
Yeah.
So, in case you didn't catch on that, our husbands are not much into the
No.
paranormal. They don't like that kind of stuff.
I would love it if I could get mine to sit down and talk about the one true experience that he had that made him, okay, there's two, but the first one that made him go, I think there's more out there. But it was not long after his grandmother passed away that I had gone somewhere, and when I came home, he was about 47 shades of white and terrified. And when I asked him what was wrong, he informed me that he kept hearing something in the kitchen, and when he turned, he was sitting in a recliner, and when he turned to look in the kitchen, because he thought that maybe it was, at the time we had a rabbit that he didn't live in a hutch, he ran free, he used a litter box like a cat. He was
so
trained. Yeah, Houdini. But he thought that it was the rabbit hopping down the hall, and when he turned, he said, I swore I saw Mama standing in the kitchen. Well, his grandmother had been dead for about 3 months. And he said, I ignored it. I went back to watching whatever he was watching on TV. And he heard noise again, and he stood up, and he turned to go in the kitchen to see what was making noise in there. And he said, I swear to whatever God you want to believe in, Mama was standing right there in that kitchen, and all I could smell was cigarette smoke. And she smoked unfiltered Camel cigarettes until the day she died. He said all I could smell was cigarette smoke in the kitchen. And at that point in time, both of us had quit smoking well over 2 years prior, so we knew it wasn't that.
Yeah.
And it really freaked him out a lot, and I just looked at him and I was like, yeah, your mama runs around, your mama shows up every now and then. I said, so does my grandfather, so does, if you'll just say hi, acknowledge them, they'll go on. And he just looked at me like I'd lost my mind and went on. But that's something that if you bring it up to him, he just kind of looks at you and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Because mine was in, he was in our upstairs bathroom. My house is haunted. Like, there's no denying it. But he was upstairs in the bathroom. I think he had just taken a shower. And he said he heard the doorknob, like somebody was opening the door, and he's like, I'm still in here, or something like that. Well, nobody ever came and everything. Well, he looked over and he could see the doorknob turning. And so he walked over and opened the door, and there was nobody there. And so he's like, nope, I don't like this. And I was like, if you don't, the more you protest, the more they will likely prank you. He has heard me call his name, and I didn't call his name.
Yep.
We have seen things, heard things go missing, and then show up in places where they would never really show up on a normal basis. So yeah, I've got quite a few stories from all of us. Actually, all of my family have experienced things in this house. So yeah, we want to just kind of, we want to take you, we've actually got at least one, our very first guest. I'm not going to say who it is yet because we want to arrange everything, but we do already have a guest lined up, she's pretty popular now. So that's coming sometime in the future. We do want to go on some road trips, and we just want to kind of blend everything together. Like, we've got personal experiences, local legends, investigations, really just a mix of everything, because this is like, we do this for fun. And we enjoy it, and we like actually digging into history of things too, not just saying, this is, like our very first investigation that we recorded for our channel is at the Craig Mile Mausoleum in Cleveland, and that's something where we actually talk about it on the video. We're not just there to be, this is the legend, you're supposed to do this, walk around 7 times and blah 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 blah. We actually have we've spent a lot of hours researching the family history, and there's a lot of questions still we haven't found the answers to, that we did make a promise to go try to find more.
Yeah, we still, that's what I was going to say. We have done a lot of research, and we've spent a lot of time with the Craig Miles, with that whole story.
Yeah.
But there's still unanswered questions, and there's still things that we would like to try to find out. And even though that we've done that, we've done that recording, which is what we are hoping to have as our first official podcast, I guess. I guess this is really our first one, but
Like our first YouTube video.
Yeah. Of something more than just us introducing ourselves and running down, you know, following the deer up the hill.
Over the hill.
The Craig Miles mausoleum, the Craig Miles family, is what we've done so much research, and that's really where Jen and I came together through the Craig Miles, as with our love for our interest in supernatural and paranormal, was through the Craig Miles. The Craig Miles family, the Craig Miles mausoleum, that has not just history but has a lot of folklore around it. And that's what.
And the Thompson.
Yeah,
side,
the Thompson, which is the mother's.
Nina's mother's side of the family.
Right.
Which isn't talked about a lot, other than to just say, you know, it was her grandfather who, you know, was driving the buggy or whatever.
Yeah. And like we said, we've done that. We've already done that investigation, and we've done that recording. We've just got to get it uploaded. But we wanted to introduce ourselves, say hello, give a little backstory on us, and I don't think that we actually intended for this to be quite as long as it is.
You actually are going to get to enjoy watching the sunset.
Yeah, on the mountain. Yeah,
listen to us blab for however long it's been.
and you know, that goes back to my ADD and the medicated.
Well, there's rarely a time that we're together that we don't end up talking 3 times longer than we intend.
Very true, very true.
So, to the point where if my kids are with me, they're rolling their eyes.
Yes.
Our husbands are like, we tapping their watches, we gotta go.
That or my husband is threatening to leave me, and I'm like, go right ahead, I got keys. You can go to the car, but I got the keys, so whatever. But hopefully we'll be able to upload stuff on a relatively steady pace. With my schedule, there's not a set day of the week that I can just sit down and go, okay, on Wednesdays this is what we're going to do, and we'll upload on Thursdays, simply because my schedule doesn't allow that. Like this week I'm off today. I work tomorrow and Wednesday, and then next week I'll work Wednesday and Thursday. And tomorrow's Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
This week on the ambulance I work Tuesday, Saturday. And I work Wednesday, Sunday in the ER, and then the next week it'll be Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday, Monday. So it'll be my ambulance ER day.
So we can't promise you a set in stone timeline of every week on Wednesday it'll be blah blah blah,
but we will try. We will try to upload at least once every 2 weeks.
That's what we're shooting for.
Yeah, I mean, because it's not just my schedule. You work in the school system, so by the time you get done dealing with all the little, all the little humans,
the little angels.
I don't know about you, but if I had to deal with children all the time, I would lose my mind. Give me the screaming, dying, you know.
Well,
I stubbed my toe at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice fun stories.
Yeah. Stories from the ER. Stories from the ambulance. Oh, Lord knows I got those.
Tales from the ambulance.
Tales from the dark side. That's what that feels like most days. So, anyway, now that the sun is pretty much completely set, and it's getting very dark and very cold out here.
And we gotta pack up and get out of here before the boogers come out.
Yeah. It's a good thing I know where I'm at.
Yes. I'm trusting Mel with my life here.
Right. See, the thing is, it got dark and the deer went to bed.
Oh yeah.
The bears are already hibernating for the winter.
Yeah.
Right now, all you got to worry about are the coyotes and the bobcats. that are out around here.
And honestly, we would probably just go, oh, puppy.
Listen, I'm probably going to, that's how I'm going to die, is
Yes.
trying to pet something I'm not supposed to pet.
Amen. Me
Oh,
too.
here, kitty, kitty, kitty.
Yeah. Oh, let's boop it smooth.
So anyway,
All
well,
right. Thank you for taking the time to listen. We will upload this, and in the description, we'll put our website and our other social media platforms.
yes.
And
We do have a Facebook page. We've
Yes.
we have a website. We have a Facebook page.
Instagram.
We have Instagram. And that's something else that we will do. We'll take pictures. Yes, TikTok. We'll take pictures and post pictures. On Facebook, there is a picture of me and my husband on there so that you kind of know who I am, what I,
don't
look
think
like,
I've ever
whatever.
done mine yet, have I? I don't think I've
I don't
put mine
think
up
so.
yet. To do that.
But we'll post pictures of like the areas that we go to, the places that we go to when we do them. When we do that, like when we post the Craig Miles story, there'll be pictures and videos to go along with that. Not only on the YouTube channel, but we'll also upload them to TikTok, Facebook, and the website.
Yes.
So until
And,
next time.
Until next time, and I'll make sure we put something in our community tab to let you know when to expect our next episode.
Yes.
I guess. So
There's
that
an
way-
email. We also have an email.
Yes,
That
for-
if you go to the website, you can send an email to us.
If you have a story you want to share,
Absolutely. Please share.
we would love to share it and read it on our next episode.
Yes.
You can even send a picture if you want to.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just make sure that if you do send an email or if you do send a story in, to make sure to let us know if you want us to use your name
Right.
or not.
Yes.
Because if you want to remain anonymous, that's absolutely understandable.
Yes.
Because there's some stories that I have that I think, if my friends hear this story, they're going to think I'm insane. So,
Yeah.
but you know, it is
Things
what
can
it
be
is.
anonymous. That's fine.
Yes.
Alright.
So,
So till next time, stay safe and stay spooky.
yes.
And
Have a good night.
good night.